Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me once again in Itoro's Hub. My name is Itoro Jimmy. Thank you for being part of our broadcast for today. So, today we'll be talking about athletes and mental health. As you all know, and many of you have been following the world of tennis, you will know that the world number one woman, that the highest woman in tennis, talking about Naomi Osaka,
Well,
pulled
number
out
two, actually.
competition. Actually, she pulled out of the competition because of her current mental health. And this has actually caused some sort of uproar because most of her fans, I mean, the general public didn't take it well at first, even though they are trying to accept, her struggles right now. But initially, when the news came out, they didn't take it well at all. And that's what we'll be looking at today. And as you know, as usual, I won't be doing this all by myself. I have a guest with me in the house. And today I'll be discussing this with Biola Solace-Chukwu. She's a sport broadcaster and also a tennis enthusiast. So I'll be bringing her on in a bit in the studio, Biola. Hi.
Hi, Itoro. Good to be on the show.
Yeah, it's good to have you. You're welcome. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. It's good to have you. It's good to have you.
Thank
So,
you.
how have you
Thank you.
been? How have you been? How have you
I'm
been? So,
fine. I'm good.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so like I said earlier, we'll be talking about athletes and mental health, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll start off with the Naomi Osaka incident that happened a few days ago. And as you know, the fans didn't really take it well at all. While most people, are trying to say, "Oh, she really needs to take a break," lots of people have been criticizing her for being selfish and not really, taking their feelings into consideration. Do you think that Naomi did the right thing? I mean, as an athlete.
Well, I think it was initially that most people didn't take it well because she didn't go into details of everything. She just mentioned she wasn't going to be attending press doing Roland Garros due to her mental health issues, and I think towards the end of her statement, she mentioned that she would like the proceeds from the fines that she will be given to go to mental health charity and all of that. The truth is, many people weren't empathetic towards her at the beginning because it sounded a little condescending. But when she came out with her second statement after she withdrew from the tournament, talking about how long she had suffered depression and all, more people were empathetic towards her. And it was quite understandable that she pulled out of the tournament during that time because it had caused a whole lot of trouble, really. But since then, I think she has gotten quite a lot of support. Of course, not everybody is going to come out to support her, and she has been criticized a lot, especially because of her initial statements. But pulling out of the tournament was the right thing to do at the time. I hear now that she has pulled out of another tournament, which is supposed to hold right after Roland Garros. We are not quite sure if she will attend Wimbledon just yet, but if she needs to take some time off to deal with her issues, then she definitely needs to.
Yeah. So why do you think there was, so much negative, comment at the initial stage when she withdrew from the competition? Why do you think the crowd didn't take it lightly?
Yeah, like I said, because she probably didn't go into very deep details. When she did eventually, even some players came out and were sympathetic and all of that. But then we know that people don't generally take mental health seriously, especially in this part of the world. And it's quite unfortunate. Many people failed also to realize that she mentioned she started having mental health issues after the 2018 US Open, and that was when the crowd was mostly against her when she beat Serena Williams in the US Open final. That was
Yeah.
truly enough to cause mental health problems for her. And even before then, till now, she's a very shy, very almost timid person. So it's quite understandable that she will be going through that. So I think maybe people should have been more empathetic towards her at the beginning, but the way she put her statement really did not help her at the same time. So that really was the problem. I think she would have gotten more empathy if she had put it the way she did in the second statement, to be honest. So many mistakes were made from her fronts, from her advisors, if she has any, from the media, from fans, from the tournament itself, from the Grand Slam board releasing a statement after she released hers. There were so many mistakes made, to be honest.
Yeah, like you rightly said, that's if she has advisors, because some of the comments that I read earlier when that statement came out was that she has fired two coaches recently, and we don't even know if she has, a psychologist, if she's been able to go see any, that she can't just come out, and make people feel miserable, that she's being selfish. So I think, like you rightly said, coming out to talk about it and give more insight on what is
Yes.
really going on, has really helped people understand the situation as
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Better.
So what, yeah, so why do you think that what do you think would actually be the cause of mental health breakdown? What would you think would be the cause of mental health breakdown in elite athletes?
In
Because
elite
obviously,
athletes,
Naomi is not the first that has actually come out
of
to
course
say that
not.
she's having a mental health breakdown. What do you think is responsible for this, Viola?
There could be many, many reasons, really. Anybody, apart from athletes, could have mental health trouble. And of course, it could be worse for athletes because they are in the public eye, really. And people get to comment on what they do on course, on the field, or wherever they are. And they get to see these comments. Everybody's on social media these days.
Yeah.
These players are active on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Snapchat. So they get to see the comments from other people. So those things are enough to put them in mental health trouble. And sometimes, of course, most of the time, most of these athletes don't come out to say they're struggling with their mental health or anything, because that could also put them on the spotlight even more. But then
Yeah.
it can just happen to anyone, really. I remember at some point, Ojo Igalo, when he wasn't performing so well for the Super Eagles, a lot of fans trooped to his Instagram accounts, were throwing insults at him and his family, and he had to lock his comments. I noticed that even till very recently, his comments were locked, and this has been maybe 2, 3 years since that happened. But it definitely affected him in some way. Of course, he didn't say
Mhm.
it's messing with my mental health. He didn't say that, but it must have been dealing with him that way, and he had to lock his comments because he didn't want to see them anymore. Many athletes go through that as well. They don't have to come out to say it, directly that they are going through it, but many could possibly be going through it. In every athlete's lives, there are phases, really. They have the times that they are performing really well, and they have times that they are struggling as well. So those times that they are struggling, fans could be really mean, to be honest. Fans do not want to know if you are struggling or not, especially those who have stakes, especially those who probably bet on any sports. If you are
Yeah.
not performing well, if you in quotes bought their tickets, it could, bring out the devil out of fans, and then they come out with really negative comments. So these things are enough, to be honest, to affect an athlete's mental health.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I remember this the story of Odion Igalo that you just talked about. I mean, going as far as turning off his notification
Comments,
button on his
yes,
Instagram page. It tells you how much this those comments were really getting at him. And I
yes.
mean, we should also understand that I think when fans are just so what word do I use now? They're so passionate that they forget that these athletes are also
Are
human beings and not
human,
superhuman.
exactly that.
You understand? They're also human beings. They forget the fact that they have, their own emotions to deal with. They have to fight, to come out to even be the better person, the better player, a better performer that they are
Mm-hmm.
actually seeing. They don't know how much effort, these athletes tend to put into, the training back door before they deliver
True.
that good, the good performance that they get to see on the screen. So, do you think, now let's bring this back home, do you think here in Nigeria, we actually have the facilities to actually, handle such a delicate case, as this one? I mean, talking about mental health breakdown. Do you think we actually
Uh,
have what it takes to take care of a situation like this?
to be honest, I would say no. At the end of the day, the athlete is on her own or on his own, really, and the athlete has to probably go for therapy and all. For instance, if it's a football team, I don't know if many football clubs in Nigeria have psychologists and all of that. I really don't think so. I'm not saying they don't, but I don't think that is something that is in place in Nigerian football clubs, for instance. So if a player in, I'm not going to mention names, any football club is having mental health issues, he might need to deal with it on his own, and not expect the club to do anything about it, because what really can the club do if there is no psychologist? So I don't think we are very well equipped really to handle it, and at the end of the day the player is on his own. So I think especially in this part of the world, we joke over everything really. We you
Yeah,
go on the internet
yeah.
and you see the situation in Nigeria and everybody is joking about it, but it's really affecting people's minds. We are not very equipped to handle mental health issues, really. There are therapists and all, but not many people go for therapy in Nigeria. It's actually growing, really, but it's not something that we are very used to yet in this part of the world. So I'll say no, we are not very equipped for that. But I believe with how far we've come in the world with technology and all, any player, any athlete who is having mental health issues will have to go for therapy, deal with it on his own, and not expect maybe a club or whatever to help them deal with it. So that really is it.
But should that be the responsibility of the player or responsibility of the club? I mean, if you look at it, if a player is playing for a club, it means he's under a contract, right?
Yes.
He or she's under a contract, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
means these are some of the basic things that should be, they should
In
actually
place.
have. You understand?
Yes.
These are some of the things they should actually have, because I mean, take for instance, okay, because here we are more particular about football. Take for instance, a player kind of have an hamstring injury or something like that, and he can't play for the rest of the season, and he's abandoned to go stay at home,
Yes.
and he just dejected and all that. How can such a player come out of it?
Like I said, I don't think we are very equipped for that in this part of the world, because a football club should have a psychologist, really. These players should
Yes.
be should have someone they can go and talk to about their mental health issues. But here, we just laugh it off. Really, if a player is injured all season, he sits at home and is left to deal with it on his own, really. I mean, at the end of the day, he's supposed to just man up, but it's something that the club should have in place. Of course, I'm sure outside Nigeria that is in place, but like I said, I'm
Yeah.
not very sure that's something that we have here, but it's definitely something that should be worked on.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It should definitely be worked on, because I think because of also the stigma that comes with mental health, a whole lot of people will not
Mm,
even come out to talk about it. And lots of people still deny the fact that there is something called mental health breakdown. They think if you're having kind of that kind of a problem, and someone says to someone kind of suggests, oh, okay, you know what, I think you should go to the psychiatric hospital. They're like, you think I don't know? What is that supposed to mean? I mean, going to going to a mental hospital is just to help check you out, handle the situation before it gets out of hand. But because of the
mm-hmm.
stigma attached to mental health issues, people don't talk about it. People don't come out to say anything about it, and it's really eating deep. It's really, really crippling,
Mm-hmm.
our sport industry here. And I hope there are ways that the government can actually deal with this, because when we talk about things like this, say, oh yeah, the government has not made provision, the government has not done this. So that brings me to my next question. How do you think the government can actually deal with this? I mean, talking about the fact that since we are always talking about football here, most of the football clubs are owned by the government. Don't you think
Yes.
that the government should be able to put these things in place? I mean, what will it cost to have a psychologist, in a football club here in the country?
You know,
What will it really take?
even though most clubs are owned by the government, like you say, I don't think it's really completely up to the government to put these things in place for the football clubs. I mean, these clubs have chairman, they have board members and all of that. A psychologist is simply a member of the team. I mean, these teams have physios, don't they? They have physios.
Yeah,
They
of course
have,
they do.
yes, they have doctors and all of that. They have security. So a psychologist should simply be one of the staff of the club. It's
Do
really
you do
not
you
as,
actually do you think they know that it is very, very crucial to have a psychologist, be part of a team? Do you think they actually know that?
well, if they don't know, then that's disappointing, really, for people who handle football clubs. That's why I said we don't really take this thing seriously in this part of the world. I mean, this is 2021, and I believe everybody is getting more knowledgeable about mental health. So they really should know. If they don't know at this point, then I don't know. How do we run our football clubs? What really do they run on?
Okay,
Don't they
so
look at other clubs abroad?
yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, for us to
Mm-hmm.
even run a successful club here, we I believe we have scouts, we have people who travel abroad to see how it is done and then bring
Exactly.
the ideas back here. Why don't we copy the good things? Why don't we bring the good things back? Why copy half? Why copy half? Do it half and then think we're going to get a fantastic result. I mean, it makes me laugh
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when people say, "Oh, can't you see the way players are playing abroad?" I mean, even as a close as South Africa, you would love their league.
Yeah.
You would watch and you would
I mean,
enjoy it. You
we don't
understand?
have the same facilities here, so really, like I said, it's not completely up to the government, even though they own these football clubs in Nigeria. These board
Yeah.
members and owners of the clubs really need to know that having a psychologist as part of your staff is basic, really, almost at this point. It's quite basic.
Yeah. So Naomi was actually fined. Naomi Osaka was fined $15,000 for not talking with the media.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're still talking about elite athletes, and now we don't really know of maybe younger players that will come out and are facing things like this that will not come out, and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if say a player that's ranked 200 and something was to say something like this, it will make a difference. It won't come out like this. The reason why it's
Of
making
course
so much
not.
the reason why it's making so much noise, it's getting so much attention is because Naomi is at the top of the food chain, so to speak.
Yes,
So she was
of
fined,
course.
she was fined $15,000 for not talking with the media. Now, do you think that the media, contributed to this mental health problem? Can you say the media played a part in her mental breakdown?
In a way, I would say yes. It's a combination of a whole lot of things. Like I said, she probably comes to social media and sees a lot of comments. And because she's world number two, she's almost the biggest woman in sports in the world at the moment. She's the highest
Yeah,
paid
well done, but
woman in
sorry, I
sports.
made a mistake earlier.
Yes, she's the highest paid in the world at the moment. So there's always something to be said about Naomi Osaka. She's in the public eye. Something is always said about Naomi Osaka. So it's actually plays a role, really. It's a combination of things. It's a combination of the media, the fans, a whole lot of things, to be honest. So I would say yes.
Well, she's not the only one that has suffered, this backlash from the media. A whole lot of athletes have suffered it. I think now people are actually looking at it from the color of being a woman of color. Do you
I
think
wouldn't.
she was being targeted because of that? Do you think she was being
No,
targeted because?
no, no. To be honest, I really wouldn't say so, because at the end of the day, the media will do its job. There's positive and there's negative media. There will always be. There will really always be. It's not about her skin color, really. It definitely isn't. I mean, we have seen, for instance, I'm going to use a white player, since we're talking about Naomi Osaka's skin color now.
Yeah.
Someone like in tennis as well, somebody like Angelique Kerber, who has suffered a serious downward spiral in the last about 2 3 years. She's a multiple time Grand Slam champion. I
Yeah.
see a lot of stories about her, really. I've seen a lot of people call on her to retire as well. So
Mm.
anybody can get it, really, from the media. Absolutely anybody. Anybody.
Yeah, because a whole lot of players, like you rightly said, a whole lot of them have actually suffered that. I mean, the likes of Serena has also suffered that, which is why I
Hmm.
said they are saying, oh, probably they're targeting women of color, or
No, I
players
wouldn't
of
say
color.
so.
So Serena has gone through that. We have Michael Phelps. Ronda Rousey has also gone through it.
Uh-huh.
Even Ryan Giggs, you
Yes.
understand, has actually gone through it, gone through that as well. Like even Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I mean, but there's something that's actually very particular about those names I've mentioned. They are all elite athletes. So are we
Yes.
saying that this is like a particular thing that an elite athlete should go through? Do you think players who don't have as much pressure can go through a mental breakdown?
Yes, absolutely anybody can. Like I mentioned before, there are phases in an athlete's career, and sometimes some players are just not doing well. They're losing multiple matches and all of that. So it really can happen to anybody regardless of their ranking. Of course, some players who are, for instance, ranked 500 and something will not be so much in the public eye as somebody like Naomi Osaka, but it doesn't mean they don't suffer their own mental health issues in their own way. I mean, every player wants to improve, every player wants to rise up in rankings and all of that. And
Yeah.
if it's not happening for you at that time, it really can cause mental health trouble for that athlete. So it's really not about how ranked the player is. Of course, like I said, if a player is more popular than another, it's normal for that player to be talked about even more. But it can happen to anyone at any stage of their career, really.
Yeah, so let's look at it this way. So, for instance, now she has actually pulled out from how many competitions so far? Do you
Two.
think if she continues like this, that the brands that she's actually that are actually sponsoring her will keep, would actually want to keep her as an ambassador? Because I remember having this discussion some days back, and a friend said to me, "I mean, look at her. She's making money. She's rich. She's young. I mean, why would she be talking about depression? Why would Naomi
Mm-hmm.
Osaka talk about mental health breakdown? I
That
mean,
that's where the trouble is.
compared to me that I'm broke. I mean, I know I don't have. I mean, she can have anything she wants. Now, the question now is, why should we look at mental health? Why should we tie mental health to luxuries? Do you think it
Yeah,
is proper?
that's the problem, really. Many people believe once someone is rich, she can't have mental health issues. It's really not that. There's really more to money in life. Like I said, I think almost everybody knows what happened to um, Naomi Osaka during that final against Serena Williams at the US Open in 2018.
Yeah.
That enough really is enough to cause some mental health trouble. It's really not about money. True, Naomi Osaka is a big brand at the moment. On and off the court, she's making money. She's even making more money off the court than she is on the court, really, because she has so many endorsements and all of that. But anyone can go through. I mean, you don't know what she's going through in her closet apart from what she has even talked about. So it's really not about money in all cases.
All right. So now, do you think these brands, like you said, that she makes money off the court
Mm.
than when she's on the court? Do you think these brands will want to stick with her? If she does this, over and over again. I mean, this is one. We don't know if she's even going to play Wimbledon, and we don't know how long this, meltdown is going to be for. Do you think these brands will still want to, stick with Naomi Osaka
Well,
if she continues like this?
I think some of them will stick with her for some time. I think everybody right now is in all the brands, of course, she works with would be in support and trying to help her get her mental health in check, really. So I think they can just give her some time, really. She mentioned it herself that she would just take some time off the court and then deal with it. At the end of the day, she will be back, really. So I don't think it's something that should drag for so long.
Yeah, why do you think actually that over here we don't really talk about this much? Because I think with what just happened, with her and with the way people took it at the initial stage,
Mm.
you realize that people still don't understand the effect, the impact, the dangers surrounding mental health. Why do
Yeah.
you think this is like this over here in Nigeria? And what ways do you think we can actually, get to, get people, carry people along? I mean, to educate them about this.
In this part of the world, if you come out and talk about your mental health issues, they see you as weak. So
Hmm.
nobody wants to be seen as weak, really, to be honest. And that's really not what it is. I mean, people have been suffering from mental health trouble for years, for as long as the world has been, really. It has just become, you know, more talked about with social media and as the world is progressing, really. I think that's where we're a little backward in this part of the world. Like I said, even football clubs do not have psychologists. So what are we talking about? At the end of the day, they'll say, "What's wrong with you?" Or God, be a man. That's what they will say at the end of the day. But it really goes beyond that. Some people suffer from mental health trouble for years and nobody knows. To be honest, personally, the person might not know that he's suffering from mental health issues. He might just know he's been sad, he's going through some stuff, but he doesn't really understand what it is to be suffering from mental health issues. So it's just the way it is in this part of the world. We try to toughen everything up, really, and if you don't, you are seen as weak.
So how can we get to educate people more? I mean, how can we make them aware of the dangers of this? I mean, suppressing your feeling, keeping everything
Mm.
down, not talking about anything at all, and thinking you're doing okay. Is that healthy?
It's definitely unhealthy. That's why these days, even though people don't exactly say it's a mental health trouble, people just say talk to somebody. Talk to somebody about whatever it is you're going through. Talk to somebody. I mean, this is why the rate of suicide all around the world is increasing. Just talk to someone. I think just generally in this part of the world, we need to be more empathetic towards each other. We need to really understand that these things are real, that people go through stuff, athletes or non-athletes go through things that, you know, can make their mental health deteriorate. So it's really something that will take a while before we fully understand in this part of the world. But I hope we get there slowly as it might be.
Yeah. So I want you to read the comment on the screen, please. Can you see it? It's
Yes, I
also, I think,
can.
it's a comment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay, I see.
All right. So do you think that he said, Define says, I think being gay or lesbian is big personnel because most of them are in the closet. The way to affect their performance. Do you agree with this?
Well, like I said before, absolutely anything could cause mental health issues. So this is definitely one. It could be what you're reading about yourself on social media. It could be
Yeah.
your sexual orientation or how people perceive it. It's anything really. So that's definitely a factor as well. Definitely
Yeah,
is.
thank you so much, Ifeanyi, for that. That's a good contribution. Like you said, Biola, I agree with you. Lots of things are responsible for this, and because of the
Mm.
stigma, because of the stigma, people would not really come out to say anything. Why? Because they don't want to be called bad or given a label, so to
Weak.
speak. Nobody wants to have labels, clipped around them while they
Mm-hmm.
walk about. And how long are we going to continue? How long are we going to continue like this? Having these challenges without dealing with them. What are the best ways to actually deal with this?
Like I said, it might take a long time, but we will get there slowly but surely. First off, I think sports clubs, let's start with clubs, maybe in football, for instance, really need to put some things in place. We've mentioned that already, really, and the place of psychologists and all. Players, athletes themselves need to understand that they are humans and they can have their own weaknesses, they can have their own mental trouble. These days, I don't think seeing a therapist should be something that would cause stigma. I don't think it's something that is such a big deal. It shouldn't be a big deal anymore, really. I mean, I'm going to see a psychologist. All right, what really is the problem with that? Why should I
Yeah.
be seen as weak
I
because that's
actually
what I
think we should
choose
start
to
having these
do?
conversations. I actually think we should start having these conversations from a very, even from the house.
Of
I
course.
actually, when you mentioned that right now, I remember the guest I had on last week, also talked about something like this. And it is because we are shying away from certain conversations. We
Exactly
don't
that.
have this conversation. There's nothing wrong. I mean, if we have psychologists, even from the schools,
Exactly.
the schools where the children attend, I mean, if they have psychologists from there, it will help build more self-confidence.
Yes.
You
I
understand?
mean,
You don't
people,
get to see that this is actually very wrong. You don't get to think that going to see a psychologist makes you crazy or makes
yes,
it you're
it's
not
not madness,
mentally stable.
really.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I think
it's not.
we should start from even schools, because I mean some
Mm.
of these athletes, although we don't have a culture of grooming athletes from primary to secondary, I mean to the university, we don't have that culture. But I think if we actually start imbibing the culture of having a psychologist in schools, it will really help. What
Yes,
do you
it
think about
will.
that?
Yes, I mentioned before that people could be dealing with mental health issues for years, for many years. It could be that a child grew up watching domestic violence in his house, and it affects that child till he grows up.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a big deal, to be honest. And even that person might not know that it's really a mental health trouble. There's
Yeah.
also post-traumatic stress disorder. People have PTSD from things that they witnessed as children, and they don't get to deal with it. They just grow up like that. It's never really dealt with. Some people keep these things to themselves. They really don't talk about it because it's just one of those things that happen in life. So it really
Yeah.
starts from the most basic of places, from schools to the athletes clubs and all of that. So it's 2021, like I mentioned. Having
In 2021,
mental
so we
health
should
trouble.
move with the time.
Exactly. Move with the
So we
times.
should move with the time. I actually understand where you're coming from. I mean, I think this should not be let. This should not be left alone. For the athletes, clubs and all that to handle. I think for me, yeah, if you ask me personally, I would say I think we are not getting this right if we are still, doing things the way we're doing it before. So
Mm.
what ways do you think one can actually, try to inculcate these things in our daily
Well,
life?
I think first off, whoever the person is, athlete or anyone, should first accept that he's going through something. You need to first accept, I'm probably having mental health trouble. I need to talk to someone, a
Yeah.
professional, most likely. Because especially in this part of the world, you talk to somebody and they'll just tell you it's all right, everything will be okay. Mm-hmm. Sometimes everything cannot just be okay like that. It doesn't always work that way. So
Yeah.
they are professionals, really. I know many people think therapy is expensive, but you can also get some that aren't. Social media has done so much for us, really. You can also get some online. Do your research, really. But at first, like I said, the first thing to do is accept that there is a problem. Then from there, you can move on.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. So today I'm not going to, stay an hour. I really wish we could stay that long. I know I snatched you from our
Yes, you
little hand
did.
today. I'm going to be very, 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 very considerate. But before I allow you go, Biola, so
Okay.
I'd like you to, talk to tell us what you do mostly and how you can be reached, like your social media handles and what you're really passionate about. And also give a shout out, to your loved ones out there.
All right, my name is Biola Solace-Chukwu. I'm a freelance sports broadcaster. I'm a tennis enthusiast, like you mentioned before. I am absolutely crazy about tennis, and of course, that's why you called me to be on this particular show.
Of
So,
course.
on social media, Facebook, I'm Biola Solace-Chukwu. On Twitter, I'm at Beolicious. That's BeorLicious, and the same thing on Instagram as well. So, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you know I'm always talking about tennis. So, if you love tennis, follow me. Whether you love tennis or not, follow me because you love tennis because you are following me. So, yeah, that's it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. So Isabel just joined us and she's saying thanks,
Hi,
Biola.
Isabella. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Okay, thanks, Biola. Honestly, you really, really shed more light on it. So what would you say? I mean, what would be like your words out there? So what would you like to tell our clubs and people out there who you think are having, symptoms of this breakdown? What would be your word of advice for them?
Yes, I'd say it's absolutely normal. Don't feel like you are weak. Don't feel like you are mad. Don't let anybody make you feel less of a human being because you are having mental issues, mental health issues. It can happen to absolutely anyone. So, generally, everybody needs to take this more seriously. Like I mentioned, it is 2021. We all need to grow up. We all need to do better for ourselves, for our physical health, for our mental health. We all need to grow. So nothing is wrong with you if you have mental health trouble. All you have to do is work on it, really.
Okay, so can you read what Ify is
Yes,
saying?
I can. He says our poor healthcare system is a factor too because people don't have access to psychologists when they need it. Well, that is true as well. But I think if you go to any hospital, you could simply ask or just make do your research. There are particular centers for this as well, and there are so many psychologists on social media. So just do your research, like I mentioned before. If you're very particular on working on your mental health, then do something about it. Do your research. The internet is everywhere. The internet is free almost now. So just psychologist near me on Google or something. Just it's really that simple.
Don't you think it's actually dangerous? I mean, to just go see a psychologist you don't really know about. You just read about it online and you just say, oh, okay, there's a psychologist name. Let me just go and see this person. Do you think it's
That's
actually
why I
safe to
said
do that?
Well, that's why I said research. You have to do your research at the end of the day.
I agree with you on
Fear,
that.
fear.
I agree. Oh no, honestly, I think the issue of security cannot be overemphasized
Of
because
course, that's completely understandable.
don't forget as much as the internet has also been helpful, lots of people have also used it to perpetrate crime, carry out
Of
dubious
course.
activities and all that, and fraud and all that. So yes, I agree with you. There are also places that you can, there are people who are willing to give their services even for free whom you can actually
Hmm.
get access to. They don't need you to come to them. You can actually talk to them.
True. You can do it
Yeah,
virtually.
yeah, virtually and all that, and they can help. And they can help. I've heard about a few of them like that. So you can actually get access to, psychologists, to carry out your free training online and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
really, I really appreciate you joining me today, Biola. It's really been an
Thank you for
honor.
having
And
me, Itoro.
I know since we still have, the French Open going on, I'm sure you are still going to come back here sometime very, very soon.
No
So
problem. I'll be right here.
let me allow you to go take care of our little prince. Thank you once again for joining
Thank you so much
me
for
on the
having
show.
me,
So thank
Itoro.
you guys. Thank you so much for being part of Itoro's
Mm-hmm.
Hub today. I hope you all enjoyed the show today. Thank you so much. And don't hold back on us. Please kindly drop your comments, drop your questions, and please kindly watch. Even though the show is ending right now, you can still watch while we
Mm-hmm.
offline. It's still going to be on the Facebook page. You can still watch and drop your questions, and Biola will attend to them. And like she said earlier, you can reach her on her various social media handles that she's mentioned earlier. Thank you so much for joining us once again. It's been a beautiful, beautiful day spending the day with you. Thank you so much. And until I come your way
Thank
next
you.
time, bye for now. All right, Biola. Thank you so much,
Bye.
girl. All right.